much more value to be had on the waiver wire. And you can find the hot hand and develop the hot hand, right? Someone like Cedric Mullins was not drafted in a 12-team league. He is going to be drafted in a 15-team league, right? And so, like, if you don't get him there, well, not always, actually. I think he was available in Tout Wars. Is a very funny story there, but we don't have to go into that. But I do think that it's the draft. I go back to what Fred Zinke said, and you'll forgive me if you heard me say this before, but what his favorite part of playing the game is, and I think I'm on board with him now. His number one favorite thing is the draft. His number two favorite thing is the preparation for the draft. And then number three is in-season game and trading, right? And I'm kind of there, I kind of think that that's where you find your great success. And that goes back to what Ariel is saying. So I'm not downgrading, Ariel, what you're saying about the values, because having a real understanding of those values and where the depth in a particular draft is huge. It's really huge. And so I would argue, along with Ruvain, that what happens on draft day is mostly determinative of what you're going to see over the course of the season. I mean, it's sort of obvious at this point.
Yep, my answer is exactly Ian's, actually. I think that for deep leagues, 15-team mixed or mono leagues, the draft is more important. I'll give it like a 60-40 edge. In shallower leagues, 12-team mixed and under, I believe that the in-season is more important.
Yeah, look at us.
Because there's more stuff to come on the wire. So, but I put this question to Twitter. Actually, they say in-season. 75% of the audience responded that in-season is more important. But I disagree. I think the draft is way more important than people think. So there you go. So before we do some lessons learned, it's time for the Injury Gurus Trivia of the Week.
Well, we're going to be talking about lessons learned here, and one of the things we're going to be talking about is coming away from the first or second round with speed. Is it necessary? So what I did was I looked back and I looked at the final standings of the top 25 stolen base guys this year in baseball, 17 or more stolen bases. How many of them were drafted in the first or second round? Of the top 25 stolen base guys, 17 or more, how many were drafted in the first or second round?
I just did this today on Twitter, so I know the answer. So
you know the answer? Okay.
Okay. I'm going to say 5.
In the first or second round, the answer is 7.
Using the ADP from NFBC from January 1st to April 1st of this year, I got 4. I got Tatis, Turner, Jose Ramirez, and Ronald Acuna. So 21
What about
were
Bichette?
not.
Where was Bichette?
Bichette fell just out of the second round.
I have
according
Bichette.
to
okay. I have Bichette.
Okay, so if you had it there, then the answer is 5. But
Yes.
let's just think about that. Of the top 25 stolen base guys, only 5 were in the top 2 rounds drafted. So what does that mean? Does that mean you're supposed to go chasing for speed in the first 2 rounds? I don't think so, because you can get speed the rest of the draft.
Yeah, so let me just add numbers that I came up with today for players with at least 15 stolen bases, so maybe a little bit deeper than the 17 you said.
Yeah.
I have in the first 4 rounds 12 players. In the next 18 rounds, 13 players. After that, just 7. So does that mean that you really need to walk away of the first 4 rounds with at least somebody that's going to steal you some bases? Is that a lesson learned for you, Ian?
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, that's a lesson I've had, because the thing that I don't like doing is chasing anything later in the draft. I want to keep finding, and auction's slightly different, right? But let's say just in a pure draft situation, I want to make sure that I get some speed. That I really just, I think it's imperative to get some speed early, so that you're not spending the rest of your draft passing up on other guys that you really want, to make sure that you get, oh God, I can't even think of his name, the center fielder for Cleveland right now.
Oscar Mercado?
No. He used to play for Houston.
Zimmer?
Nope.
Zimmer.
Nope. Used to play for...
You talking about Miles Straw?
Yes, Miles Straw. Like that, I got to reach for Miles Straw. Thank you, Ariel. It's been a long day. I got to reach for Miles Straw to make sure that I get that speed. And then you're getting guys who knows if he's going to hold that playing time, right? That's the concern for me. So for me, it says I want to get some speed. Certainly in the first 4 rounds, definitely want to get some speed for sure.
Okay, so let me ask you this theoretical question. Okay, who would you rather take? Let's say you're picking third, and here are the two choices for the first round. You can either pick Vladimir Guerrero Jr. or Bo Bichette. Who you're picking in the first round with those two only?
Well, with the third pick, those are my only choices with the third pick.
I'm just who do you prefer for a first round pick next year?
Trey Turner.
I didn't say Trey Turner.
Fernando Tatis Jr.
No. I'm specifically picking a guy, Guerrero, who does not steal.
I'm not going to take Guerrero. I mean, I really like Bichette. I don't know if I'm going as high as 3 on Bichette, though.
Well, no, the point of the question is, should Guerrero be taken as high as he does because he doesn't steal?
Not for me, no. I mean, for me, that's a problem. I mean, his batting average is really good. You can almost argue that Ohtani has more value. Maybe not more value, but more. You know what? More.
Ohtani is a 260 hitter maximum.
I understand. I understand that's a major issue. But he's also going to give you 25 steals.
Right, Ohtani gives you steals. Well, the question here is take a guy who's phenomenal but doesn't steal. I think that they have to be downgraded. I think I would rather take Bo Bichette than Guerrero. And if I have to play an auction, I think my value for Bichette is going to be higher than Guerrero because of categorical risk here. That Bichette spreads the risk a lot better.
I would have felt a lot better if it was a question at pick number 6 than at pick number 3. Because I don't know if I take Bichette.
It's the same thing. Same question. You're pick 6 and Vlad's still on the board, and so is Bichette. I think the answer is Bichette right now. Because of the way that the steals are going, because of the construct, you're going to be left chasing all along. Well, I mean, you can take Pete Alonso a couple rounds later for the power. That takes care of Guerrero's power. The RBIs, you can take some guy all the way down. But what you can't get is those steals and the average and the runs. I think that's the argument, that it's a risk. It's a risk reason, and it's a categorical risk. And
okay, well then here's a better question. Here's a better question. What about taking either Ohtani or Trey Turner? Trey Turner will give you more stolen bases, but Ohtani will give you more power.
Turner could be the number 1 overall pick next year.
In fact, I think he should be. I mean, he would be. He's been my choice every year in every NFBC. Somehow, I'm always getting him, whether it's at 5 or at 8 or at 6 or at even 9 sometimes. The upside with Turner is just so remarkable because he's going to give you average. He's going to give you 30 to 40 stolen bases over the course of a season. He's also going to hit you 20, even if he doesn't hit you 25 to 30 home runs. I just think Turner is the, and now with the dual eligibility as well, with the second base shortstop, I don't know. To me, that's the guy.
Yeah, I'm not arguing Turner there, but it's not a mock on Guerrero. Guerrero is probably a very low risk person also, but that's a low risk for obtaining his value, a low parameter risk. The categorical risk is enormous when you don't take somebody in the first round. I'm just throwing that out there. The other question in terms of lessons learned are case for an ace. Do you think that it's imperative to take somebody in the first 4 rounds who's an ace pitcher, or take 2 in the first 4 rounds? Is that something that we can learn from this year, do you think?
Me?
Yeah.
No. I mean, maybe 4 rounds, yeah. But in the first 2 rounds, I think it was a real big thing to grab pocket aces this year. I don't know, man. Jose Ramirez is sitting out there, and I'm taking Jose Ramirez I'm looking at steals ahead of any pitcher. I think I can find pitching. You can't find steals in the same way. And look at Garrett Cole. Are you going to trust Garrett Cole? Can you pick Jacob deGrom right now? Do I really want to be holding the bag on Max Scherzer when the Max Scherzer experiment is over? Sure, you could look at Walker Buehler, but that's the first time he's ever thrown that many innings. Who knows that he's going to come back and do it again? Aaron Nola was taken in the second round. Luis Castillo was taken in the second round. Tyler Glasnow was taken in the second round. Clayton Kershaw was taken in the second round. Blake Snell was taken in the third round. I mean, I don't know that I want to be putting that risk out there. That's my take today. I may change my mind, but at the end of the season, that's where I am.
I don't think you need to. The pocket ace strategy, I think, is putting a lot of eggs in a basket. and you're giving up a lot of important value and statistics. So I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of getting some good anchor and then waiting a bit. I'd rather do that than wait and get a fourth and a fifth round pitcher. I'm looking at. I did some analysis today on what value was left in the first round. So the average pitcher taken in the first round walked away with $19 of value. The average pitcher in the second round walked away with $17 of value, and so on and so forth. The drop off happened after the fourth round. Then you get only $8 of value, negative value in the sixth round. So if you didn't pick a pitcher in the first 4 rounds, there was a serious drop off to the next. There's another drop off that occurs after the 12th. So in the 11th round, there's an average of 10. In the 12th round, there's an average of $10. But then there's a drop off, -2, 1, -7, 2, 1. So there's almost no value in pitching somewhere in the middle. If you're taking a pitcher from rounds 12 through 20, you're getting very, very little return on investment. And then there's some darts later. The actual average return on the 24th round, 25th round, those are positive. But so if you think about what I just said, it basically begs you to say you take an ace in the first 2-3 rounds, you take a number 2 starter in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and then you wait on pitching to the end. That's really what the model says this year as to what happened. And actually, this is what happened the last couple of years as well. So that's my thought on what you do with pitching.
Based on this year alone, if you look at some of the stats, and I did some a lot of digging here, of the top 10 ADP starters from this year, how many of them do you think started 30 games of the top 10 ADP from this year?
Scherzer did.
Cole did. Giolito did.
Bueller did.
The answer is 7. 7 out of the top 10 ADP pitchers pitched 30 or more starts.
That's pretty good, actually.
Going from 10 to 20, how many had 30 starts?
2.
The answer is 4. Yeah. So I think that you really should be getting that starter in the top, one of those top 10 starters, which is probably going to be in the first or second round, and then you can wait, like you're saying, Ariel. But I think you want some stability, and you get more stability in those first 2 rounds as opposed to a third or fourth round guy.
Yeah, the question is also volume. I think that there's a much bigger guarantee that if you take a pitcher in the first 3 rounds, that they're going to get the close to 200 innings as opposed to anywhere else.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I hear you guys. Yeah. And I'm not. I haven't dug deep enough, but there's a piece of me that is going back old school, back in the day when taking a pitcher early was dumb, right? Because they're so risky. And it's like, well, but then we looked at last year, and I even made an argument at a certain point to bring starting pitchers up in my dynasty rankings over at The Athletic. But I'm sort of leaning away now a little bit. I'm nervous about it, Like what happens if Corbin Burns has some arm trouble? Then you're done. I mean, sure, this Mike Trout has calf trouble, but I don't know, Shane Bieber, it's just there. Even Giolito, like what did he bring back this year? Not that much. He wasn't great. He wasn't great. He wasn't worth a first round pick. I'd rather take the Freddie Freeman there or the Bryce Harper there.
Giolito, I had as like an 11th round pitcher according to my values. He was not even going to be on my list. But all those other guys.
How about Darvish? Where was Darvish on your list?
I was lower than most. Nola, though, I was higher. I was fine on Nola. Luis Castillo, I was, fine on him. Look, here's the point to everybody. There's going to be misses, but the way to look at it is if you're indifferent about your draft position, you want a starter, and sure, you could be higher on a certain person or not, but if you need a starter, you're sort of going to be indifferent to what's on the board. And if you do that, you just go by the numbers, and the numbers say that taking a starter in the first 3 rounds is a must. That's what the numbers say. I
mean, look at. I'm going to use my AL labor for a minute. I didn't have an ace. They were all $10, $11, and $12, and came in second in ERA, second in WHIP, and first in wins.
That's a mono league, so it plays a little bit differently because you have to guarantee playing time. So it's a little bit different.
It is a little bit different, but the point is that if you choose the right pitchers,
but also mono leagues, the values tend towards hitters. Like the starters are going to be pushed downwards, whereas in a mixed league, the starters are going to be pushed up.
All right, and it also depends on the format, because if it's a points league, then I'm thinking while we're having this conversation that we're looking at Roto. Is that
Roto.
how you guys are thinking of it?
Yes, it's Roto.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because if it was head-to-head, I'd have a different conversation.
Yeah, correct. Of course, it matters there. Next question. Salvador Perez had an unbelievable year. He actually finished second on my player rater as far as his Roto value. Do you think that Salvador Perez / JT Realmuto types we're talking about, not just elite but super elite catchers, are they worth paying up for and sacrificing a, third, fourth round pick on him? Do you think that's worth it?
Ravine, you go first.
No. Catcher,
Okay.
no. I would spend my money in a safer place. I'm not saying Salvador Perez or JT Realmuto aren't safe, but I'd rather spend a third round pick or a fourth round pick on another big bat that gives me a little more guarantee than a catcher. Yes, Salvador